don't mind me just playing a little bit of Mecha'thun Druid, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This does count as a budget deck because I'm only running the Mecha'thun as the legendary and 1 epic and branching path, so it's still relatively cheap. This entire hand, I think, is a pretty good thing to keep just because I'm going to have to deal with those pesty Silverhand Recruits. I don't think I need Innervate, though. Could definitely be helpful, but I think I need other cards that help me draw a little bit more, so we're going to pass that up and go for a few more optimal options. This deck right here, I won. I've already beaten Even Paladin. It's over. It's donezo. He's gone. Now I realize something with this deck. With this deck, it takes a lot of time to think on my own turn. So I'm going to be talking a lot more than usual, and I already talk a lot. I've already been told I talk a lot, which has actually been told that it's a good thing. But at the same time, I also know that it means that I'm going to have to try to not talk as much as I already do. I'm going to kill off that 3-2. So I'm going to have to try to control myself and not, like, I already talk a lot, so I don't want to have the natural talking a lot escalated by the fact that I need to think and I'm thinking out loud. That being said, I've already kind of screwed on that one, so we're just going to talk as normal, I think, rather than try to change who I am. I don't need to change myself for nobody. Discovering a secret, that's fine. Not a huge deal for me. Really, at this point, all I need to do is not get blown out, and I win the game. Odds are the Oaken Summons, if I get it, will get me a... I'm going to kill off that 1-1. Less for him to pump up, potentially. Ideally, the Oaken Summons gives me an Acolyte of Pain, but I don't know if I necessarily want to use that right away, simply because of the fact that it is an Acolyte of Pain, and I don't have the Wild Pyromancer out, so I can't actually get a ton of value out of it. And if I do play Wild Pyromancer, I need an Earthen Scales or a Bearskin. Barkskin. I call it Bearskin. I'm going to continue to call it Bearskin until the end of time, so you guys can judge me all you want. And you guys can tell me I'm pronouncing it wrong. I know I am. But it doesn't matter to me. Nope, we got to go with branching paths here. We've got to go with gaining a ton of armor. He's already using up a lot of his aggression with the True Silver Champion. But the fact that he didn't play that, I think that means that he doesn't actually have Blessing of Kings. And if he does, I have the Spellstone to deal with it immediately, so we're still fine. The Auctioneer is a fine and dandy dude. He's going to hit me. That's fine. He could have another weapon in hand. It would not surprise me if he had another True Silver Champion, which is why he's using it up so quickly. He's just trying to go as aggressive as possible, which makes sense. I definitely respect that play. I have the Mecha'thun. I have to wait one more turn. So I think we do this. Hit the 1-2. And end turn. Next turn, I'm going to be able to Branching Paths or Oaken Summons into Innervate or Wild Pyromancer, Innervate, Moonfire, and wipe his board. I needed to get rid of that extra health because if I don't have Bearskin, I can't kill it. But fortunately for me, his entire board is full of things that I absolutely 100% can kill and will kill. So we're fine. Do I want to play the Wild Pyromancer first? I think I do, actually. I think playing the Wild Pyromancer first and then Oaken Summons, it'll summon it, deal a ton of damage to his board, and then we Moonfire this, bushes the board again, we save the Innervate, and we're in a really good spot. I don't overdraw or anything. I have another Oaken Summons to get another Acolyte of Pain or Wild Pyromancer, but I kind of want to save it because if I draw Wild Pyromancer, I don't necessarily want to just throw him out there immediately. Interesting. So he's going like all-out aggression now. He knows that at this point, if he doesn't do that and do something fast... Are you serious? Not a single one of them hit the Acolyte of Pain? What are the odds of that happening? Not good. Not high, I'd say, actually. I'm going to be totally honest. We're going to Ferocious Howl. And we get the Bark Skins. So, at this point, we do that. We hit him in the face. We have a Pounce. You have an Innervate and an Oaken Summons left. I don't think I'm going to overdraw. I really don't. He already used his Avenging Wrath. I don't think he has more than that. I already have Mecha'thun and Naturalize and Innervate, so if he makes me overdraw at this point, it's not even that hurtful for me. So I think I've won the game at this point. I don't think that there's a way he can necessarily, like, take control and win. I think I want to play the Auctioneer now. And then we Spellstone this. It'll kill it. It's gone. Gives me more spells. We'll use Pounce. Ferocious Howl, that's nice. That's a good thing to have, potentially. But unfortunately for me, I think this is where our journey ends. With that Auctioneer. Which is a little weird, but I don't know. I've already drawn a decent amount of cards. Could have a Quality Consecrate. Yeah, it's going to deal a little more damage. I'm going to draw one more. I lose the Auctioneer. I actually wasn't able to pop off nearly as much as I was hoping to, but it's fine. I'm not going to overdraw anything. It's not like I'm going to be losing an Auctioneer. Need to save the Naturalizes so he doesn't have that many cards. Biology Project, that would have been a card I wanted with the Auctioneer. So we're going to Ferocious Howl. We're going to... Ooh. At this point, I think Oaken Summons might be a pretty good choice. We'll just gain a ton of armor. We don't need to draw anymore. We still have an Auctioneer and an Acolyte of Pain. That's still a decent amount of draw potential in my hand. I already have my win conditions on the far left. Just steer clear of those and I win. It's basically done. It's over. We won. Deagle, more like... Okay, we very well might have to naturalize that. Which isn't what I want to do. Darn it. Don't make me naturalize that, please. It's going to return it to life with 1 health, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to hit this. He's going to return it to Noble Sacrifice. Of course it was Noble Sacrifice. What was I thinking? We will naturalize this bad boy, though. And then Wrath, draw a card. Pounce. Okay, that's fine. Next turn, we pop off for sure, though. I have enough armor to where if I fatigue over, it's not that big of a deal. Oh, okay. So that's actually not good for me at all. I have no real way of dealing with that. I think we have to do this first, so I have the potential to draw more cards. So we play him. We Oaken Summons. I draw a card. We have the Earthen Scales. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, we have the Bearskin on him. I think we Earthen Scales on him to keep him alive. For at least one more. Give me a little bit more armor. The Auctioneer, that's really late to be getting him, but not that big of a deal. Can I summon him this turn? 1, 2, 3, 5. No, I cannot. So I think I'm going to have to play all of my spells right now. So we have Pounce. We have Moonfire. Shoot, okay. We have Moonfire. No, wait. We deal 3 damage to him. Innervate. Biology Project, Moonfire. And, oh, we didn't get the Moonfire off. That's not good. But all I have to do is live 2 more turns and I win the game. I'm pretty sure I do win the game off of this. You might as well just concede. 2 people spectating me. That's fantastic. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is where it happens. This is the magic. This is where the magic happens. Okay, so now we have the Auctioneer. We have to play the Moonfire first on the 1/1. I can't actually win the game this turn. I don't want to play this first because I don't want to take any extra damage. We play this and that. That's going to be on the board. Right, so I can kill that off into the 4/2. Theoretically. Stick it on Steed, that's fine. I almost threw this game by not having a way to kill my Auctioneer, but luckily for me, I did not. I saw that he had a 4/2 on the board, so I realized that it's fine. Drawing the Auctioneer as late as I did was a little bit of a bummer. I would have rather had played it earlier so I could have actually killed it myself. But We kill him off, and we play Mecha'thun, innervate, hit that naturalize right on the Mecha'thun, and we win the game. Let's see that animation. It's beautiful. I almost lost myself the game, to be honest, by not leaving something else up to kill my last minion. This deck is going to take a little bit getting used to, because I have to kill my own stuff at the end there. But won this game, won the last game I played with it, although it wasn't recorded, and we're just going to keep on grinding away. Okay, so I kept 2 Ferocious Howls because I think it's a pretty decent cycle and just control in general. It gives me armor, it allows me to stall out the game. Basically, this deck is incorrect. That's incorrect. We will shapeshift and hit him in the face. Nothing really to do here. I could Wrath it, but I want to say Wrath to actually remove his more powerful stuff, so I'm actually going to just relax for a second here. I have Wild Pyromancer in hand in case things get out of control, along with the Pounce, which is pretty nice. I have Ferocious Howl into another Ferocious Howl, so all things considered, things look like they're going to be doing pretty well. 6 armor and draw a card is pretty solid. Next turn is going to be draw a card, gain 7 armor, and that's just pretty good. I'm going to have to kill that off. I mean, I can kill it with double Wrath, but I don't know if I want to necessarily double Wrath here. I could Wrath, Pounce, Hero Power it. I don't want to waste a Hero Power, Pounce either. Gets rid of a card on his board. Gets rid of 2 of mine. Ultimately, the goal of this is to use up all of my cards. Ideally, I get an Acolyte of Pain or an Auctioneer sooner than this, but that might not happen. So Blink Fox, no longer have another Wrath to deal with that, but I do have Wild Pyromancer. I feel like at this point I can just play slow and be fine. Okay, so Naturalize is pretty okay to have in this situation, but it's not necessarily like top tier. I'm going to have to use it to kill a big minion if he plays one a little later on. We're just going to Ferocious Howl, and then Hero Power. And I think end turn. I do have Wild Pyromancer with the Bark Skin. I'm going to continue to call it Bear Skin unless I mentally, tell myself it's Bark Skin. Look at that. That looks like it could be a bear, but at the same time, it's definitely skin made of bark. So, I don't know. He's hitting me. He's hitting me real hard. I'm going to have a hard time maintaining this total of health. Going to have a hard time not getting kind of blown out here, but I think it's going to be possible. I have... Okay. Do I want to draw a ton of cards right here or not? Or do I want to wipe his board? See, this deck is actually somewhat hard because of the fact that this is a constant decision you have to be making. What do I want to do? And I think I can hold out for one more turn. Next turn, Auctioneer, Biology Project, Wild Pyromancer, Barkskin, Pounce with an Innervate. I can totally wipe the board. The Auctioneer will die, but I'll still end up drawing a decent number of cards. And ultimately what this deck wants to do is kill off its own minions. We Auctioneer. We Biology Project. Oops. We Wild Pyromancer. We Innervate. Because I have 2 of them, so that's fine. We Barkskin. Keep him alive. We don't have another Innervate, potentially, so we'll just Pounce. And hit him in the face. His board has been wiped. I've dealt some damage to him. And just like that, I am in a very, very, very good spot. This deck is actually surprisingly good. It's not fantastic, but it is still a good deck all around. I think I'm just going to play the Acolyte of Pain and Oaken Summons next turn. Assassinate, kill off that, that's fine. I do have another Wild Pyromancer in hand. Acolyte of Pain is fine as well. Oaken Summons will allow me to kill off the 4/4 next turn. Acolyte of Pain, Oaken Summons, and then I think just get rid of the Divine Shield so he can't value trade anything. Or just hit him in the face. Because, like, I have a Wild Pyromancer, so that's not going to be that big of a deal. And I have a Naturalize that I can use, because I still have one left in my deck. So I can Naturalize anything if he pumps everything up. Like if he Fungal Mancers in between these two right now. I also want to save the Naturalize for after he, Really? Oh, he created that from Blink Fox? That's fine. I'm actually not that upset by that. Really? So I'm not even going to end up drawing that many cards out of this? That's actually really bad for me. Give me Branching Pads. Oaken Summons, that's not Branching Pads, but it is a decent amount of armor. So we'll just gain some armor. Armor up hip face. I need him to commit more before I Wild Pyromancer. Playing both those Acolyte of Pains was a risk. I didn't think he'd assassinate another one. I didn't think he'd have another. I thought I'd at least draw like 2. The fact that I haven't drawn Mecha'thun yet is not fantastic, but it's fine. Ideally, I draw the Auctioneer soon. My goodness. But surprisingly enough, looking at his board, he actually doesn't have that much damage. Like, he couldn't even get through my armor. Next turn, he's going to have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage in total. Like, that's it. All he's going to have is 13 damage. We'll kill off this. Do I want to kill that off? No, that's just making me take some extra damage. And it'll take up more spots on his board, so... This is suboptimal. I need an Auctioneer. ASAP. Or I think I'm going to lose the game. That's fine. I can still wipe his board, and I still have 2 Branching Paths in my deck. That's like 24 health in my deck. So I'm actually not that worried. Oh boy, oh boy. Okay, maybe a little bit worried. I may be a little bit worried at this point. I may have waited too long to do anything here. Lesser Spellstone, that's fine. We're going to have to make our move right now. We'll gain 4 armor off of this. Boosh the board. Moonfire something? Do we want a Moonfire? Is that the correct call? I'm going to have to Moonfire this once to kill everything. And then... I guess he could Biology Project. I guess he could Biology Project. Like, there's no reason not to, I guess. Because I still have these 2 cheap spells in hand, so it should be fine. Or I Moonfire again. The cards that are left in my deck are absolutely terrible. Absolutely do not want it. Any of them, to be honest. The reason why I don't want any of them is because they're expensive. Like the Branching Paths, sure, I can gain a ton of armor with it, actually, but also at the same time, oops, I just dropped a little pen that I've been twirling in my hand. Interesting. That's not a ton of damage, so I might not need to worry that much about this. That 8-mana card is not Myra's Element? Oh my goodness, wait a minute. Insane. Give me Branching Paths or Auctioneer, for favor. One of the two. That is not at all what I wanted. I don't want to give him cards with Naturalize either. This is just a really, really, really bad spot to be in. We'll Spellstone that. We'll gain armor and end turn. In theory, if I drop Branching Paths, I could still be okay. But I'm going to have to drop Branching Paths. I know one of the things in his hand is Flame Elemental, so he's going to have to top deck something really good. And he did. Okay, well, fact of the matter is, this opening was just not very good at all. Even Branching Paths I don't think saves me at this point. I really needed it earlier. So I don't think he has a way of getting rid of Mecha'thun. I really don't need Mecha'thun in my opening hand. I really want to be able to draw towards him, or Pounce, or Wild Pyromancer. Actually, Wild Pyromancer could be good to help me remove the board if things get out of hand. But that will be later. Having the auctioneer in my opening hand's pretty good. Let's see if I can go positive on today. We have nothing to play this turn, probably nothing to play next turn as well. He's not going odd, so he's not going to have a ridiculously large board. I have played several games of this, just some that weren't recorded, some on my phone, some just in general here. I think we're going to play Acolyte of Pain next turn and trade into like 1/1s. But this deck, I think, has one more loss on my phone that wasn't recorded while I was out just, doing some stuff. So I think the deck overall is 2-2. But I don't fully remember. Okay, so he's playing a 1/1. This is what we're going to play the Acolyte of Pain for. If he does something to make it, like, somehow kill the 1/3, like Blessing of Might it for whatever reason, it's more than okay with me. I don't really care. What's he going to do? He could play a Maul, and if he plays a Maul, it's still going to take multiple damage. True Silver Champion would be rough, and that's exactly what's going to happen here. The Acolyte of Pain is not giving me nearly as much as I kind of wanted it to, but that's fine. There's another Auctioneer. That's actually pretty good for me. I think with Branching Paths, I'm going to want to draw a card, gain some armor. I really want to be able to cycle through the deck. But also I want to be able to survive. And this deck isn't even, so I don't think it's particularly aggro. I don't think that he's going to go particularly aggro. Even with that True Silver Champion, that's not a ton of damage potential. Like, it's a decent amount, but I still have, just in my hand, 3 more armor and an extra armor every turn. So I'm actually not that concerned with the way that this game is going. I think that this matchup is pretty decent for me. Other than hard aggro decks, this deck does pretty well. And even into hard aggro decks, this deck does pretty well, as long as I don't use the Wild Pyromancer too soon, and I don't have the Branching Paths never get drawn. So that was an absolutely useless draw, and I think at this point we just use this to kill off a 1/1 so I don't lose control of the board. And there's no reason to do anything other than that. I need to save some spells for the Auctioneer. Since I have multiple, I may play 1 on 7 unless I draw an Innervate, and then 1 on 8 right after that, because he's probably going to kill it. And I'm in a pretty safe enough space to where using the Auctioneer to draw like 3 or 4 cards could be good. See, I don't care about him gaining health. I rely on winning with Mecha'thun, and I already have Mecha'thun in my hand, so odds are I end up winning this game. We kill off this 1/1, I'd say. And we end turn. Next turn, however, next turn is going to be wild with this Auctioneer. Auctioneer, probably Barkskin, couple of Moonfires, a Pounce. Overall, a really, oh my goodness gracious, you madman. But even with that, he's actually not doing that much damage, so I don't really need to worry all that much. Naturalize? I could just naturalize it right now. Play the Auctioneer. We will naturalize it, because I still have another naturalize in my deck, and this is actually like one of his best cards in the deck, so we're going to do that. We're going to Moonfire 1. We're going to Pounce. Moonfire his face? No, we'll Moonfire that. Do I want to hit that? Is there any reason to? Other than might as well. I'm going to take 2 damage from it. That might not be a bad play. I think I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to overdraw or anything, so that's fine. I don't think there's a way he can make me overdraw. I have a Wild Pyromancer in hand. Oaken Summons. Overall, I think that this is a pretty good spot to be in. I can kill his entire board, so that's fine. I don't really care about that. Thank you for killing the Auctioneer for me. It makes my job a lot easier. Usually I have to kill it off myself. Save 1 extra thing of removal to kill it off myself, but I don't have to this time. I think this time we Oaken Summons, Acolyte of Pain, Biology Project, Wild Pyromancer, Innervate, skin. No, because then I'll be drawing way too many cards. Like, way too many cards. So we'll play this and Oaken Summons. This will be enough to wipe his board, ultimately. What? What? I already played an Acolyte of Pain. Oh my goodness, that's embarrassing. I did not even realize that. We will, I guess, Barkskin on him and end turn. Keep him up to continue to control the board. Unless he gets a weapon to kill it off. His hand is too full. That's unfortunately, he didn't lose anything that good. Fortunately for me, though, I am in a pretty good spot. We have the Wild Pyromancer. We have an Auctioneer. We have pretty much anything we could ever want. Everything and anything. I think what we do in this particular case, though, is we Auctioneer and pop off that way. Because I don't want to waste my one last form of removal. I'd rather keep that, if you don't mind. So I'm going to Biology Project, draw a card. That's pretty nice. Innervate, I'd say, because I still have one more in my deck. Spellstone, that's pretty nice. We'll draw 2 cards from this. Earthen Scales, where Earthen Scales this. There's the other Naturalizers, Mecha'thun. I just need to draw my Innervate. And then I think we'll just kill this off. So I have Branching Paths. At this point, I just need to draw cards with it, I think. I also have 2 Ferocious Howls left in my deck. Oh, no. Now we have to race. Now I have to race to see who can finish all this off first. And to be quite honest, I don't like my chances. I really don't. Most of the things left in my deck will be pretty cheap, I'd say. Huh. Okay. Let's Ferocious Howl. Do I want to draw more cards with this instead? I can do this Ferocious Howl. Yeah. Ferocious Howl. Let's see what I draw. Barkskin. That's actually pretty decent to draw here. I could just double Spellstone because I don't need any more minions. He's going to be able to kill it off, obviously, but that's fine. Biology Project? Do I need to do that right now? Just to draw another card, I think I do. If I get Wrath, I can Wrath it. I was way too slow, to be honest. So, at this point, I messed up. It's going to take me 2 more turns to win the game because of that fact. But it's going to take him 3 turns to win the game. So, not that big of a deal. If he plays a big minion, like, I should be fine. I always hold on to these Spellstones too long. That's something I definitely realize is playing this deck a little bit extra. I always think, oh, I need to save these for removal of his minions. But then I'm like, oh, I need to save them for the removal of my minions. And then they just end up sticking in my hand. And they can be useful, but at the same time, they also could be the very reason why I don't end up winning the game. So it's going to take him 3 turns to win this game. 3. It's going to take me more than that. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have to double Spellstone this. Oaken Summons Branching Paths, I think. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. So I could do this instead. That's what I think I'm going to do. We then deal 3 damage. Deal 6 damage. Oaken Summons, I guess. I think I've won the game. Because whether he likes it or not, that 1/1 will stay alive. I'll be able to play this next turn. It'll take him a couple more turns to actually win the game. And I have Mecha'thun in hand. You'll put it on my tab? Thank you, sir. Means so much to me. That doesn't matter to me. That doesn't matter at all. So we Branching Paths. to gain 12 armor. We spellstone that, and then next turn we win the game. So let's spellstone it. Branching pads for a ton of armor, just to make sure that there's no possible way I could lose. And then I win the game. Well played. This deck is absolutely insane. It beats slower decks. It beats mid-range decks. It beats... aggro decks are a little rough. If I'm able to get a ton of armor early, it can be done. In that last game against the Rogue, if I had gotten a Branching Paths for 12 extra armor to buy me a little more time, things might have gone a little differently, but they didn't. But overall, this deck actually requires a lot of thinking in order to figure out when to use what spells, and using them absolutely optimally can actually be the difference between winning and losing. If you get later on in the game and you're like, shoot, I have 11 mana worth of stuff, or like I had like 14 mana worth of cards in hand, so I had to take 2 more turns to play the Mecha'thun. If I had been a little bit more efficient with that, it could have been a better deck. So I actually think I'm going to be playing this deck a lot. I might play this deck a lot just without recording or anything, just for fun, just to try to master this deck to give you guys the best possible information you possibly can get a little later on. But yeah, this deck is definitely one to keep your eye out for. It has a pretty solid win condition, and as long as you can stay alive, I think you just win the game.